Your paycheck just hit your account. You open the banking app, see that beautiful 4-digit number, and for exactly 3 seconds, you feel rich. Then reality kicks in. The rent is due Tuesday. Your car is making that noise again. You promised your friend you'd go out this weekend, and somehow by Thursday you're eating ramen and wondering where it all went. Again. Sound familiar? My name is Nick, and I've spent way too much time figuring out why payday feels like Christmas morning, but somehow turns into financial purgatory by Wednesday. The problem isn't that you don't make enough money. The problem is that you're doing everything backwards. You're treating your paycheck like a suggestion instead of a strategy. And that backwards thinking is costing you your future. If you're someone who looks at their bank balance and genuinely has no idea where the money disappeared to, or if you've ever found yourself saying, I'll save whatever's left over, only to discover there's never anything left over, smash that like button and stick around. Because today we're talking about something that sounds simple but will completely rewire how you think about money. We're talking about eating the frog on payday. Now, before you start wondering if I've lost my mind and think amphibians are somehow the key to financial freedom, let me explain. Brian Tracy wrote a book called Eat That Frog, and the concept is brutally simple. Do the hardest, most important task first. The frog is that ugly, intimidating thing you keep putting off. In productivity, it's usually that project you've been avoiding, but when it comes to your paycheck, the frog is something most people never even consider doing. The frog is paying yourself first. Here's what most people do the moment their paycheck arrives. They pay the rent, they buy groceries, they fill up the gas tank, they grab coffee, they pay the minimum on their credit cards, and then, if there's anything left over, maybe they'll throw it in savings. But here's the mathematical reality that will blow your mind. If you wait to save what's left over, there will never be anything left over. Your expenses will magically expand to consume every dollar you earn. It's not a character flaw, it's not lack of discipline, it's human nature meeting basic economics. The wealthy do something different. They eat the frog first. The moment their income hits their account, before they do anything else, they pay themselves. They invest. They save. They treat their future selves like the most important creditor they have. Because here's the thing about frogs. They don't get easier to swallow if you wait. They just get bigger and uglier. So what does eating the frog actually look like in real life? It means the first transaction you make on payday isn't to your landlord or the grocery store, it's to your investment account, it's to your emergency fund, it's to your future. Before you pay a single bill, before you buy a single thing, you pay yourself. And I know what you're thinking. Nick, that sounds great in theory, but I have bills. I have responsibilities. I can't just pretend they don't exist. You're absolutely right. You do have bills, but here's what most people get wrong. They think all their expenses are created equal. They treat their Netflix subscription the same way they treat their rent. They put their daily Starbucks habit in the same category as their health insurance. This is financial suicide. If you want to build wealth, you need to get brutally honest about the difference between what you need and what you want. Let me break this down for you because this is where most people's financial plans fall apart. True necessities are housing, food, transportation, utilities, and healthcare. That's it. Not the premium cable package, not the meal delivery service, not the gym membership you use twice a month. Those are luxuries masquerading as necessities. And here's the target that will change your life. Your true necessities should consume no more than 60% of your take-home pay. 60%. Not 80, not 90, 60. Let me show you the math that proves why the save what's left approach fails. Let's say you take home $4,000 a month. Following traditional advice, you'd pay your rent, which is maybe $1,400. Then utilities, $150. Groceries, $400. Student loans, $400. Car payment, $300, insurance, $200, gas, $100, phone, $80. And before you know it, you're down to less than $1,000. That feels like a lot until your car needs an oil change, your friend invites you to dinner, you need to buy birthday gifts, and suddenly you're looking at maybe $200 left for the month. But what if you flip the script? What if the first thing you did when that $4,000 hit your account was transfer $800 to investments and savings? Now, you're forced to make the remaining $3,200 work for everything else. Suddenly, that $1,400 apartment starts looking expensive. You start questioning whether you really need that $300 car payment. You become creative about groceries and ruthless about subscriptions. I can already hear the objections. Nick, you don't understand my situation. My rent alone is 60% of my income. My car payment is killing me. I live in an expensive city. Look, I get it. Life is expensive, but if your necessities are consuming more than 60% of your income, you don't have an income problem. You have a lifestyle problem. And lifestyle problems require lifestyle solutions. Maybe that means getting a roommate. Maybe that means driving a different car. Maybe that means living in a different place. I know that's not what you want to hear, but mathematics doesn't care about your feelings. Here's the brutal truth that nobody talks about. Building wealth requires knowing exactly where every single dollar goes. Not approximately, not roughly, exactly. Most people have no idea what they actually spend money on. They have a vague sense that money comes in and money goes out, but they couldn't tell you with precision where it goes. This is like trying to lose weight without ever stepping on a scale or counting calories. You might get lucky, but you probably won't. You need to account for every dollar, every coffee, every subscription, every impulse purchase at the checkout line. I'm not saying you can't buy these things. I'm saying you need to be conscious about buying them, because unconscious spending is the enemy of wealth building. When you don't know where your money goes, it goes everywhere except where it should go. Once you've got your arms around your spending, once you've separated your needs from your wants, once you've committed to paying yourself first, then we can talk about the order of operations. Because just like math has an order of operations that determines whether you get the right answer, money has an order of operations that determines whether you build wealth or stay broke. Step one happens before you do anything else. You pay yourself first. But step two is equally important. You stay current on all your debt payments. Notice I didn't say pay off all your debt. I said stay current. There's a difference. You need to pay at least the minimum on every debt you have, and you need to pay it on time. Your credit score is one of the most valuable assets you have, and one missed payment can destroy years of careful building. I know it's tempting to skip a credit card payment to boost your savings rate. Don't do it. I know it's tempting to be late on your car payment because you want to invest that money instead. Don't do it. Protecting your credit score is not optional. It's the foundation everything else is built on. A good credit score saves you thousands on mortgages, car loans, and even insurance. A bad credit score costs you money every month for years. Step three is building your emergency fund. And this is where people get creative with their definitions. An emergency fund is not for when you want to take a vacation. It's not for when your friend's wedding is more expensive than you planned. It's for when your car breaks down, when you lose your job, when life happens and you need cash immediately. You need 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses sitting in a boring, high-yield savings account. Not invested in the stock market. Not tied up in crypto, boring, and liquid. Here's why this matters more than you think. Your emergency fund isn't just about having money for emergencies. It's about breaking the cycle that keeps you broke. When you don't have an emergency fund, every unexpected expense becomes a financial crisis. Your car needs new brakes, so you put it on a credit card. Your phone breaks, so you finance a new one. Your cat gets sick, so you borrow money from your friend who's probably broke too. Each crisis pushes you further away from wealth building and deeper into the debt spiral. But when you have that emergency fund sitting there, boring and predictable, something magical happens. Emergencies become inconveniences. Your car needs brakes, you write a check, life continues, no drama, no credit card debt, no borrowing from friends, no derailing your financial plan because Tuesday decided to throw you a curveball. This is the difference between people who build wealth and people who just survive paycheck to paycheck. Step 4 is where things get interesting. This is where you start investing for retirement. And I don't care if you're 22 or 52, this step is not optional. The most expensive words in the English language are, I'll start investing when I'm older, or I'll catch up later, or my personal favorite, I don't make enough to invest. Let me destroy that last one with some basic math. If you invest $100 a month starting at age 25, assuming a 7% annual return, you'll have over $260,000 by age 65. If you wait until you're 35 to start investing that same $100 a month, you'll have about $130,000. You literally cut your retirement in half by waiting 10 years. Time is more powerful than money when it comes to building wealth. You can't buy time back, but you can start buying your future today. Now, here's the part that makes me want to shake people. If your employer offers a retirement match and you're not contributing enough to get the full match, you are literally leaving free money on the table. This isn't complicated financial advice. This is basic mathematics. If your company matches 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary, and you're not contributing at least 6%, you are voluntarily giving up a 3% raise. Who does that? Apparently about 40% of Americans do exactly that. Let me put this in terms that might hurt enough to motivate you. If you make $50,000 a year and your employer matches 3%, that's $1,500 of free money you're walking away from. Every year, for your entire career, over 30 years, that free money you ignored compounds to nearly $300,000. You literally threw away nearly $500,000 because you thought you couldn't afford to invest $300 a month. The math gets even more brutal when you consider that most people spend more than $300 a month on things they can't even remember buying. Daily coffee runs, impulse purchases on Amazon, subscription services they forgot they signed up for. You'll spend $40 on a dinner you'll forget about in a week, but you won't spend $300 a month on a retirement you'll need for 30 years. Your target should be 10% of your gross income going toward retirement, not your take-home pay. Your gross income. That includes your employer match if you're lucky enough to have one. So if you make $60,000 a year, you should be investing $6,000 annually or $500 a month. Before taxes. Before you see it. Before you have a chance to spend it on something else. And please, for the love of compound interest, keep it simple. You don't need to pick individual stocks. You don't need to time the market. You don't need to find the next Tesla or Bitcoin. You just need to buy boring index funds and never touch them. The S&P 500 has averaged about 10% annual returns over the past 90 years. That includes the Great Depression, 2 world wars, multiple recessions, and every financial crisis you can think of. Just buy the index fund and go live your life. Step 5 is where you finally get to attack your non-mortgage debt with the fury of someone who just realized they've been paying interest to credit card companies for no good reason. But here's where people mess up. They try to be too clever. They create elaborate spreadsheets comparing interest rates and minimum payments and opportunity costs. Stop it. Pick one method and stick to it. You have 2 choices. The debt snowball method, where you pay off your smallest balances first, or the debt avalanche method, where you attack your highest interest rate debt first. Mathematically, the avalanche saves you more money. Psychologically, the snowball gives you more wins. Pick whichever one matches your personality and execute it relentlessly. If you need the motivation of quick wins, go with the snowball. Pay the minimums on everything and throw every extra dollar at your smallest debt until it's gone. Then take that payment and add it to the next smallest debt. The psychological boost of eliminating debts completely will keep you motivated when the process gets tedious. If you're the type of person who can delay gratification and you want to optimize for mathematics, go with the avalanche. Pay minimums on everything and attack the highest interest rate debt first. You'll save more money in interest over time, but you might not see a debt disappear for months. The method matters less than the consistency. Most people fail not because they picked the wrong strategy, but because they kept switching strategies. They do the snowball for 3 months, then read an article about the avalanche and switch, then get distracted by some guru telling them to invest instead of paying off debt, then try to do everything at once and end up doing nothing effectively. Pick one method, write it down, execute it until every non-mortgage debt is gone, no exceptions, no creative financing, no balance transfers to 0% cards unless you have the discipline of a monk, and can guarantee you'll pay it off before the promotional rate expires. Most people can't, which is why credit card companies offer those deals in the first place. Here's what happens when you actually follow the system. When you get your next raise, instead of lifestyle inflation eating the entire increase, you have a plan. 50% of the raise goes to increasing your savings and investment rate. 25% goes to accelerating your debt payoff, and 25% can go to improving your lifestyle if you want. This way, you actually get richer as you make more money instead of just getting more expensive. When you pay off a debt, you don't suddenly have more money to spend. You redirect that payment to the next debt or to your investment accounts. The payment doesn't disappear. It gets reassigned to building wealth instead of servicing debt. This is how people who don't make massive salaries still end up wealthy. They understand that every dollar has a job, and the job changes as circumstances change. So the beautiful thing about this system is that it works regardless of how much you make. Whether you're earning $30,000 or $300,000, the principles are identical. Pay yourself first, know where every dollar goes, protect your credit, build emergency reserves, invest for the future, eliminate debt, and adjust as life changes. It's not sexy. It's not revolutionary. It won't make you rich overnight. But it will make you rich eventually, and eventually is better than never. The reason most people never build wealth isn't because they don't make enough money. It's because they don't have a system. They make financial decisions based on emotions, impulses, and whatever their broke friends tell them at happy hour. They treat money like it's mysterious and complicated when it's actually brutally simple. Make more than you spend, invest the difference, don't do anything stupid, and wait. But here's where most people completely lose their minds. They think this system is too restrictive. They think budgeting means they can't enjoy life. They think paying themselves first means living like a hermit who subsists on ramen and tap water. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you need to be intentional instead of accidental with your money. The difference between broke people and wealthy people isn't that wealthy people don't spend money on things they enjoy. It's that they decide in advance what they're going to spend money on, and then they spend it guilt-free because it's part of the plan. When you have a system, when you know exactly where every dollar is supposed to go, you can actually relax about money instead of constantly worrying about it. Here's what I mean. If you've already paid yourself first, if your bills are covered, if your emergency fund is growing, and you've allocated $50 for entertainment this week, then you can spend that $50 on whatever makes you happy without feeling guilty about it. You're not stealing from your future. You're not sabotaging your financial plan. You're spending money you specifically designated for fun. The problem is that most people do this backwards. They spend money on entertainment first, then stress about whether they can afford their bills, then panic about not having any savings, then feel guilty about every purchase they make. That's not living. That's financial anxiety masquerading as a lifestyle. When you eat the frog first, when you handle the most important financial task before you do anything else, something interesting happens to your brain. You stop feeling deprived and start feeling empowered. You stop feeling like money controls you and start feeling like you control money. You stop making decisions from a place of scarcity and start making them from a place of abundance. And let me tell you what happens when you don't eat the frog, when you wait until the end of the month to see what's left over for savings, when you treat investing like an afterthought instead of a priority. You become what I call a financial procrastinator. You keep telling yourself you'll start saving next month. You'll invest when you get that raise. You'll build an emergency fund after you pay off this one credit card. You'll start caring about your future self tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Next month turns into next year. That raise gets absorbed by lifestyle inflation before you even notice. The credit card gets paid off and immediately gets run up again because you never address the underlying spending habits that created the debt in the first place. You spend your entire life waiting for the perfect moment to start building wealth, and the perfect moment never arrives because you're still waiting for it. So, here's your choice. You can keep doing what you've always done and keep getting what you've always gotten. Or you can swallow that frog on your next payday. Pay yourself first, follow the system, and watch your future self thank you in about 20 years when you're sipping coffee while your broke friends are still complaining about money. The frog tastes terrible going down, but financial freedom tastes pretty sweet on the other side.